Before you spend another penny on gear, ask yourself this question. Have you fully utilized what you already own? Because I hadn't, not even close. And to that end, I've found a super neat vertical teleprompter trick without needing lots of extra expensive gear. Let me show you what I do. My workspace is a 6x6 box I playfully call Tight Spot Studios. I do 90% of my work in here, including creating horizontal and vertical video content, some for YouTube and some for client work. Some of my content does need to be scripted, especially for client work, as I need to say exactly what we've agreed. This is where a teleprompter comes in super handy, right? And I chose the Padcaster Parrot Pro, and I'm using the upgraded version 2. And I've been using it for about 2 years now, and I've had no issues with it. I've seen online that many people are having issues, but I personally haven't had any issues with it. And I chose it because it's super small, it's lightweight, it's portable, and I can store it easily in my space, which is a massive plus for me in Tight Spot Studios. I use it with one of my old smartphones as the active screen and pair it with a Bluetooth remote control. And it's a walk in the park for creating horizontal content. However, for vertical content, well, that's more of a challenge, or at least so I thought. I kicked around the idea of getting more gear, cooking up uber convoluted and expensive rigs, and trying to move the camera further back and punching in, but none of those options would fly simply because I just don't physically have the space in Tight Spot Studios. And I also didn't want to overcomplicate the goal. Also, I'm not a fan of frequently looking away from camera to see your notes either, especially if I'm working on content for a client. It just doesn't look very professional in my opinion. But the answer dawned on me a few days later when I was out for a walk, and I couldn't believe how simple the solution was. When using a teleprompter, the camera and teleprompter need to be in the same plane. When shooting horizontally, this is relatively straightforward. If vertical content needs to be shot, however, the camera has to be flipped sideways by 90 degrees. So if the camera flips, guess what? The teleprompter also needs to flip 90 degrees in the same plane. Right, now gravity's clearly at work here as well. So how do you make the teleprompter stay there? This is where I had to get really rudimentary, so I grabbed some gaffer tape and I also grabbed a friction arm and got to work. For horizontal video content, I use a 24mm f1.4 lens paired with my Sony FX3. However, for vertical content, I discovered that I need to switch out that lens for a 16-35 f2.8 zoom lens. And the reason for the zoom lens is that I can ensure that I've got the correct framing. The Padcaster comes with a bunch of different mounting rings, so I picked the most appropriate one for the 16-35 lens and then attach it. I then stick the smartphone onto the teleprompter tray with some gaffer, taping it at each end to secure it. But it's not the greatest sustainable option. I then hang the teleprompter on the front of the lens, clamp one end of the friction arm to the monitor arm that I have, and adjust the other end of the arm until the teleprompter is sideways. I then adjust my framing, zooming in to about 28mm to ensure the correct framing, and that's it. Please do take care though, as I've never had the teleprompter fall or anything like that on me, but I will add, obviously, you can do this at your own risk. This means that I don't need to buy or add any new gear, get any uber complex contraption set up to record scripted vertical content. Everything just works for shooting vertical content in Tight Spot Studios now. And because of my setup, I can shoot sat down or stood up to add a little bit of variety in my content. I love this setup because my eyeline gets to stay natural. The read is really smooth, and I have the same confidence producing both horizontal and vertical content for YouTube videos and also for client work. I've stopped shopping around for vertical video solutions altogether now, and the beauty is that I'm using the gear that I already own. Now, to save on gaffer tape, my question to the Padcaster product team is, can you produce an upgrade to the current teleprompter tray, which includes a strong MagSafe magnet already built in? This would certainly positively impact your sustainability story, as well as saving on gaffer tape. I'd be curious to see one. Now, I'm hoping that you found this useful, so if you have, please drop a comment and let me know if this has changed things up for you and how you create scripted vertical content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.